2025, and I'm Shemon Dia presenting. In the Airlines House of Representatives summoned Ministers of Education, Finance, and Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public school teachers across the country. Demands explanation in the continuing prevalence of volunteer teaching. Safe Judicial Circuit Court of Monserrado County Renas Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman guilty of criminal contempt fines him US 300 to be paid in 72 hours. And also in the news tonight, Chinese investor Yang Peng accuses National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dukle of criminal behavior, says the NPA boss defrauded him of a over $2 million mineral water company. Away from home, fears are mounting of mass killings in the key Sudanese city of Al Fashar after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces captured aid from government forces. A plane crashed near Kenya's coast has killed 10 European tourists, and a local pilot, officials have said. This plus a news bulletin, voices of those making the news at our package, but take a short break to be right back. Welcome back at this juncture with John Sam Andrews with the news bulletin.
The Ministers of Education and Finance, along with the Director General of the Civil Service, have been summoned by the plenary of the House of Representatives following a communication submitted to plenary by River G County Representative Isaac Wall. Reports have it continued prevalence of volunteer teachers across Liberia, particularly in River G County, where most public school instructors reportedly work without government employment status. In the communication to plenary, Representative Ward described lack of teachers in public school as an alarming situation affecting the education system. The summer officials will appear on Thursday to explain the continued prevalence of volunteer teachers across Liberia. Plenary decision was taken Tuesday during the session of the House of Representatives. River G County District 3 lawmaker communication also indicated lack of teachers being detrimental to the right to education for citizens of River G County. He revealed that about 60% of public school teachers in the county are volunteers, with only a handful on government payroll. In another development, the Public Accounts Committee of the House of Representatives is reviewing a proposal from Nima County Representative Munsability to broaden the scope of the ongoing legislative audit. Representative Ability wants the legislative audit to include the years 2018 to 2021, noting that the current 2022-2024 framework falls short of transparency. In a strongly worded communication addressed to the plenary, the Nima County lawmaker said limiting the audit to the last 3 years risks undermining the credibility of the process, especially given the House's decades-long absence of formal financial scrutiny. He stated, because of the House of Representatives has not undergone audit for several decades, the years 2018 to 2021 are particularly important for any meaningful assessment of the House's financial operations. Representative Musability argued that omitting years will significantly undermine the credibility and completeness of the process. Judge Peter Beningwele, 6th Judicial Circuit Court judge in Monserrado County, has found Liberia's Inspector General of Police, Gregory Coleman, guilty of criminal contempt for defying a lawful mandate. Judge Beningwele Tuesday ruled that Inspector Coleman failed to appear before the court to explain his non-compliance with a previous order described as an affront to the authority of the court and highly contemptuous. The judge, in his ruling, fined the police boss 300 United States dollars to be paid into government's revenue within 72 hours. Failure to comply will trigger a writ of arrest, placing him in custody. A Chinese investor identified as Yang Dang has accused the National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dougle of fraudulently deceiving and unlawfully dispossessing him of his multi-million-dollar mineral water company, valued at over $2 million. Speaking to journalists near the company's premises Tuesday in Port River community along the Bombing Highway, Young said police officers assigned at the premises allegedly acting on the directive of Sekou Dougle denied him access to the company's premises. According to him, this occurred despite an ongoing legal dispute between both parties currently before the court. The Chinese investor also accused the NPA boss of organizing an elaborate scheme to misappropriate his investments through deception, intimidation, and abuse of power. He alleged that Dougle is using his influence and official position to suppress justice and maintain control over his company. Yang claims that the NPA managing director solicited millions of dollars from him to finance multiple joint ventures, including a mineral water bottling plant and a mining project, none of which was successfully completed. Yang noted that contributed $2.55 million toward the bottling plant and an additional $1 million for mining licenses. The Liberian Senate has confirmed Samuel Stikwaya as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, succeeding the late Sylvester Grisby. Minister Stikwaya, who previously served as Deputy Minister of State for Administration, was appointed by President Boakat following the passing of Grisby. He was appointed on September 7 with strict mandate to serve as acting Minister of State for Presidential Affairs pending the Senate confirmation. On Tuesday, the Senate Committee on Executive unanimously voted to confirm him to serve as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. At the same time, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has confirmed Liberia's National Bar Association President, Councillor Bonavama, as chairperson of the Land Reform Commission. During his appearance before the Senate Committee on Judiciary Friday, Councillor Vama pledged to modernize Liberia's legal system and make it more accessible, equitable, and responsive to the needs of the people. He expressed gratitude to President Boakat for nominating him and to the Senate for the opportunity to present his vision. He described the Law Reform Commission established in 2011 as a cornerstone of Liberia's legal framework, tasked with ensuring that national laws remain relevant and just. According to Councillor Bonavama, the law reform is not merely about changing words on paper, but rather transforming the country legal system into a responsive instrument for justice, development, and good governance. The newly launched Liberia Alternative People's Party Vice Chair for Political Affairs has disclosed that the party is preparing to embark on its nationwide tour. Speaking on King's FM Monday, Focus Wilson claimed that a critical review of other political parties' policies indicate that these political parties lack the way forward, the willpower to liberate Liberians from poverty and unemployment. He noted that the Liberian Alternative People's Party, as a political party, has drawn up a framework that will serve as the best alternative for Liberians. According to him, all political parties, including the governing Unity Party, have massively failed Liberians and need to be trusted with state power. Foka Wilson expressed confidence in the Liberia Alternative People's Party winning the 2029 presidential election, noting that the party will ensure inclusion during its governance. Montserrat County Representative Sumo Moliba has called on the government and members of the House of Representatives to support a proposed amendment to the Decent Work Act of 2015, which seeks to adjust the country's minimum wage to reflect current economic realities. In a letter addressed to the government and the national legislature, Representative Moliba protected the amendment against what he described as misleading claims from individuals he referred to as purported labor experts who have questioned the proposal's alignment with existing labor laws. Representative Moliba stated that the 2015 Decent Work Act already established a foundation for labor standards such as minimum wage, stating that over the past decades, the minimum wage bill board has not effectively addressed the role of salaries in shaping living condition, and it has instead been viewed as a political tool by previous leaders. Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Johnny Takpa, has defended President Bouakar's constitutional authority to appoint and dismiss government officials. Speaking during Mikian's press briefing Tuesday, Minister Takpa emphasized that the Constitution grants the president full discretion over appointments and dismissals within the executive. According to him, critics have accused President Bouakar of removing officials who allegedly refused to engage in corrupt practices. He dismissed the claims as unfounded, noting that the president has consistently taken the action against corruption rather than protecting it. Deputy Minister Antonin Tokpa said some people are saying the president is dismissing officials because they refuse to be corrupt, but this is the same president, according to him, who has been removing people for corruption-related issues. The executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Emmanuel Yakpawulo, has described Liberia's mangrove ecosystem as a cornerstone of national heritage and community livelihood. Speaking during the official launch of the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory Report held in Monrovia, Dr. Yakpawulo said the report is a landmark and first of its kind to provide a comprehensive scientific assessment of Liberia's mangrove forests, detailing the condition, biodiversity, and carbon storage potential. According to him, the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory Report is expected to guide future policy decisions on coastal protection, blue carbon research, and sustainable economic development. Dr. Yakpawulo explained that the initiative results from more than a year of collaborative work between the EPA and the National Mangrove Task Force, a coalition of government institutions, research organizations, and local communities, adding that the task force has been instrumental in mapping mangrove boundaries, documenting species of diversity, and engaging residents in restoration and conservation efforts. And Grand Bassa County Attorney at Law Paul Javin is calling for an alternative dispute resolution aimed at decongesting Upper Buchanan Central Prison. According to him, the prison, originally built to host about 45 inmates, now holds over 150. Speaking in an interview Tuesday, Councillor Javin confirmed public perception that the prison is seriously overcrowded, noting that minor cases that can be settled through alternative dispute resolution mechanism have been used to hold people behind bars. Councillor Javin added that discussions are ongoing with judicial actors, including the residents and Liberia National Police, to address the issue.
Sam and Juice with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. A reminder you're listening to King's Newsroom 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our own world. Stories we follow in tonight's House of Representatives summoned Ministers of Education, Finance, and Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public schools teachers across the country. Immense explanation in the continual prevalence of volunteer teaching. Chief Judicial Circuit Court of Monserrado County Reynolds Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman, guilty of criminal contempt, fines him US 300 to be paid in 72 hours. In the news tonight, Chinese investor Yang Deng accuses National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Dukli of criminal behavior, says the NPA boss defrauded him of over US 2 million mineral water company. Away from home, fears are mounting of mass killings in the key Sudanese city of Al-Fashar after the paramilitary rapid support forces capture it from government forces. Take a break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. A Chinese investor identified as Yang Dan has accused the National Port Authority Managing Director, Sekou Dukli, of fraudulently deceiving and unlawfully dispossessing him of his multi-million-dollar mineral water company valued at over US 2 million. Speaking to journalists near the company's premises Tuesday in the Bo River community along the Bombing Highway, Yang said police officers assigned to the premises allegedly acting under the directives of Dukli denying him access to the company's premises.
Yes, but he hiding the criminal charge. He said it's a civil, but see, it's a civil case. I'm the major shareholders. Why they block me and hiding me, operate the business by himself?
I'm asking you whether the court gave you a decision that you can no longer have access to this place as a major shareholder.
Everyone say, yeah, the lawyer, my consular said in Canada, said, I'm legal, I can see what's happening here, and I need to see the financial report in a bookkeeper. I know what's happening, what they do, they sell. I needed the choose. The Dukli, the case is simple, but the Dukli use my name is Yang Dan. They just blocked me outdoor, and they kicked me out from inside. Kicked me out several months ago until now. I didn't entry because he's personal security and the police. Okay, so I sue him is criminal because he cheating and he lying. He steal a lot of money from me, but he just talked to the investigator. Say it's civil. It's a civil case. Okay, civil case. So civil case is fine. Okay, just I want get the truth justice. It's okay. But why the civil case? He blocked me outdoor. It's criminal.
What he doing?
Yeah, he blocked me inside. Yeah, what he did. Good question. I don't know. Maybe use money. Good question. Thank you. I don't know where the police get the permission from. Maybe use the money. Maybe Dukli use the gangster and the money. Corruption to them. I don't know. That's what I need to ask everyone Liberia here. So how do we can hide the police block the door here? That's what my question also. Thank you. Because my English is not very well, and the law is language. And my counselor say the Dukli use the money to corruption to someone important. So he always running, not straight away. He always running and hiding. See, Dukli didn't come. If I come here, the Dukli never coming here. He used his brothers and his guys and the security block me. He never come to talk to me in the face to face because he can't answer my question. He can't give me the answers.
Yang also claimed that the NPA managing director solicited millions of dollars from him to finance multiple joint ventures, including the mineral water bottling plant and the mining project, none of which were successfully completed.
So it's a simple story. So I come to invest in the country, and I put the Sekou Dukli in the shareholders because he said he can help me a lot of things, the consultant in the country. But in the last year, I saw he's a gangster. He's a mafia. He did a lot of criminal to me. He wanted, I think, for his mind, he wanted to fight everything. And he kicked me out from the water factory from my property several months ago in the middle of the night. He's a criminal. So see, same things. He put the police there. Yeah, police there.
So
Police there, and his personal security blocked me also. Wow, I done a lot of jobs with him because I saw he was a good person, but no, I'm wrong. So he did a lot of dirty. He cheating me. He cheated me a lot of money for the mining.
He's a Chinese investor identified as Yang Den. Meanwhile, amidst these allegations, despite calls and text messages sent, the managing director of the National Port Authority, Sekou Dukli, hasn't responded up to present time. The newly launched Liberian Alternative People's Party Vice Chairman for Political Affairs has disclosed that the party is preparing to embark on its nationwide tour. Speaking on King's FM Monday, Focal Wilson claimed that a critical review of other political parties' policies indicate that these political parties lack the will power to liberate Liberians from poverty and unemployment.
We told our wives that it is important for us to exist in a democratic society where we have allowed and permit the competition of free ideas, the competition of political existence as a mankind. And to do that is to organize ourselves and brainstorm ideas, relevant ideas, to make the difference after a couple of years, decades upon decades, observing the political space within the republic, and we thought it was important for us to establish a political institution that could make the difference. And so it's just to make the difference in our political society, in our existence politically, we will be unearthing some of those political ideas which gave us the audacity to establish a political institution. Many people establish political institutions because they see other political institutions existing. And so they have no vision. Some people borrowed or they rented ideas from other political institutions that they use as a medium of establishing political entity. Some people have done it for monetization purposes or that was in the intention of establishing political institution. For us, from the Liberian Alternative People's Party, our objective is very clear. We will establish the political institution from the sole purpose of competing ideas and making sure, if you look at the governance state of the republic, we have high different layers how we want to do it. There are fundamental flaws and errors since Joseph Jenkins Rabotan even up to current. So no breed of personalities, political pundits have thought otherwise to do it differently. For example, Jean Wisa Blambo, code officer, establishing member of this political institution, thought otherwise to look at the various sector. Is that, look, we need to create an opportunity where we have government inclusion.
He's Focal Wilson, the vice chair for political affairs of the Liberian Alternative People's Party. Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Johnny Tokba, has defended President Joseph Boakai's constitutional authority to appoint and dismiss government officials. Speaking during MICAT's regular press briefing on Tuesday, Tokba emphasized that the Liberian Constitution grants the president full discretion over appointments and dismissals within the executive branch.
We are aware that yesterday the president exercised one of his constitutional powers, and I want to read this. And this update is important because after the president's decision, there were varying views. Facebook, the internet broke loose in Liberia. Some were saying the president was wrong. Others were saying, for some of those people who said when the president appointed us that we're all corrupt people, there were those now saying, some of those that the president dismissed or allowed to go were not the good people. So Government has taken a position that we want to come up to say this. But why was there all of the fuss yesterday? Some said the president had no right to fire certain people. But the Liberian Constitution, under Article 56A, gives the power to the president to allow government officials, especially cabinet ministers, the deputies and assistants, to serve at the pleasure of the president. Now, what does that mean? It means that, to put simply, the president can appoint you today. Today is Tuesday. On Saturday, the president can relieve you. He can relieve you, he can fire you without citing any cause, without citing any reason. And that is the reason why all of us, including me, we all serve at his pleasure. So I guess when he appointed us, nobody asked why he appointed a particular person. After he exercised his constitutional authority, we now see soothsayer all around the place. Just a few years back, no one had the audacity to fire anyone in government because they were preserving their own pepper bush. In fact, the policy statement that we heard at the time was, "Bile bravo bile." When you die, die your water. Those were the policy statements. The government at the time was not bold enough to make a reshuffle even when an appointed official was being accused of something grave. Not only that this president has fired people or replaced people, he's also taking serious and staunch administrative decisions intended to revamp this administration. He said that business will not be as usual. And so if he deems it necessary to reshuffle his cabinet, so be it.
Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Information, John Ntapwe there speaking. Every morning you're listening to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Stories we following tonight: House of Representatives summons Ministers of Education, Finance, and Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public schools teachers across the country. Demands explanation in the continuing prevalence of volunteer teaching. Chief Judicial Circuit Court of Monserrado County renders Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman guilty of criminal contempt, fines him US $300 to be paid in 72 hours. Chinese investor Yang Dan accuses National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Duple of criminal behavior, says the NPA boss defrauded him of over US $2 million mineral water company. Away from home, fears are mounting of mass killings in the key Sudanese city of Al-Fashal after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured it from government forces. A plane crashed near Kenya's coast has killed 10 European tourists, and the local pilot officials have said. We took a break to be back with more voices. Welcome back and thanks for being there. The Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Emmanuel Yakbawolo, has described Liberia's mangrove ecosystem as a cornerstone of national heritage and community livelihoods. Speaking during the official launch of the Liberia National Mangrove Inventory Report held in Monrovia, Dr. Yakbawolo said the report is a landmark and first of its kind to provide a comprehensive scientific assessment of the country mangrove forest, detailing the condition, biodiversity, and carbon storage potential.
Mangrove as national heritage, central to climate resilient community livelihoods and biodiversity. To implement this directive, the EPA established the National Wetland Task Force, bringing together key agencies and institutions to coordinate research, policy harmonization, and law enforcement for the protection of wetlands nationwide. Over the past year, the EPA and the task force have worked tirelessly to map wetland boundaries, identify threat hotspots, and engage local communities in restoration activities. The National Mangrove Inventory we are gathered here will support these efforts. It provides for the first time real-time data on the extent, condition, and carbon storage potential of our mangrove forest, laying a solid scientific foundation for the blue economy, planning and investment. We also celebrate our new elemental analyzer, a state-of-the-art instrument donated by the International Atomic Agency to Liberia. When installed and commissioned, this equipment will enable the EPA to analyze blue carbon content in soils, sediments, and organic matter with precision. It will be instrumental for the blue carbon research, mangrove data validation, and the development of our national carbon market readiness system. The result of this inventory go beyond environmental science and they speak to economic transformation. Like Blue Economic Vision seek to harness our ocean, coasts, and rivers for sustainable growth, fisheries, tourism, and renewable energy.
Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yuri Yakbawolo, they're speaking. Grand Bassa County Attorney Councilor Paul Javan is calling for an alternative dispute resolution aimed at decongesting Upper Buchanan Central Prison. According to him, a prison originally built to host about 45 inmates now hosts over 150. Speaking in an interview Tuesday, Councilor Javan confirmed public perception that the prison is seriously overcrowded.
But the prison compound, the jail, is overcrowded. 156 as we stand. And you know that prison was built for about 45 persons or so because we were trying to avoid this sort of congestion where the prison will be overcrowded that could eventually lead to jailbreak. So we said, look, there are minor cases that there's already come to a simple assault where parties agree, where parties come together. They say, look, we are family members. We want to have this such matter resolved. You resolve this matter so that there can be, so that you can send people to jail that shouldn't have gone to jail. Because once you can reduce, you can carry out the alternative dispute resolution, it tends to reduce the number of persons that will go to jail. And what you will be doing now, those who will be committing hardcore crimes, the drugs, the murder, armed robbery, those are the people that will be sending to jail so that they can get a day in court. What I was saying has come to reality. We need to reduce the number of persons within the prison. Those who have stayed there for a very long time, we need to reduce our prison.
And how can that be done? How is it happening?
I spoke to the judge, and I also spoke to the magistrate, the judge of the circuit court. And we are trying to come up with a list of individuals who have been there, some for more than 200 days, some for a very lengthy period. We can make a list. Those hardcore criminals, those who are accused of committing hardcore crimes, will be there with prosecution. And then we see, we meet the police, we talk with the police and say, look, this is the list that is coming up. Do you have any record of these people? How serious are these people in terms of the commission of crimes in Bassa? But that you can read.
Grand Bassa County Attorney Councilor Paul Javan, a local educational non-for-profit organization, We Care Foundation, has launched 6 new anthology books for elementary schools with the aim of improving reading habits among young students in Liberia. The books, developed under the Teaching and Learning in Fragile Context project, were officially introduced at a ceremony in Monrovia on Tuesday. Speaking during the event, the program manager of We Care Foundation, Evan Weir, said the project will foster a strong reading culture in Liberia's school system, particularly among elementary students.
Today we launched 6 anthology from grade 1 to grade 6. Each grade level has a book, and each anthology is more than 100 pages, featuring Liberian authors, Liberian illustrators, with stories that are culturally relevant within our context, and they are aligned to the curriculum and the grade level. The project Teaching and Learning in Fragile Context is in partnership with Code Canada and is being supported by Global Affairs Canada. WeCare is one of the partners because this program is also being implemented in Sierra Leone by Tall Breeding Sierra Leone. We had the Deputy Minister for Instruction of the Ministry of Education launching these books. They are key because right now in our school system, there is a lack of teaching and learning material. Therefore, these books are meeting a need. Along with the books, we also have the books on wheel because we are distributing these books to schools with a box that is on wheel and has shelves in it. The schools will not need to put the books in the box and have it taped. It's going to be on shelf. The shelf is on wheel and the wheel to roll it into the classroom. Over the years, WeCare has been into book production, library establishment, and having books placed in schools. When we are monitoring the process on how teachers use the book, how students are engaged with the books.
Also speaking, one of the leaders of the TLEC project, Tom Ziazawolo, emphasized the importance of adequate instructional materials in strengthening the country's educational system.
This TLFC is an acronym of Teaching and Learning in Fragile Contexts. This is a project implemented by WeCare Foundation and Code with funding from Global Affairs Canada. This project works with universities and TTRs, Teacher Training Institutes, precisely with education departments. We work with teacher educators, we work with student teachers, and we also work with the host teachers. Our main focus here is to prepare better teachers for tomorrow or in the classes. So we work with the universities, we train the teacher educators to some other pedagogical skills in how to prepare the students' teachers. Also, we work with the student teachers, we orientate them and work with them on the field while they are doing their practicum. We also prepare the host teachers to be able to equip them and put them at the level of understanding that they will be able to mentor those student teachers that will be leaving from the TTRs or the Teacher Training Institute to go there for their practicum process. Basically, it is a connection between WeCare, the universities, the teacher educators, student teachers, and that of the host teachers. And everything is resulting to a better learning outcome of our students.
The National Union of Organizations for the Disabled, Peter Flumod, has taken a firm stance against or regarding the recent protest by individuals living with disabilities at the Executive Pavilion. Addressing a press conference on Tuesday, Union's President Peter Flumod urged all parties involved to immediately halt actions that could lead to harm or misrepresentation, emphasizing that such behavior jeopardizes the hard-won positive image and unity of the disabled community.
The disabled node has taken note of the recent peaceful assembly staged at the executive mansion by a group of persons with disabilities over alleged mismanagement of the government empowerment fund intended to support persons with disabilities across Liberia. NUOD recognizes the importance of transparency and accountability in the management of resources meant to uplift persons with disabilities. However, the union strongly urges all aggrieved individuals or groups to disengage from actions that may expose them to harm or misrepresentation.
Away from home, fears are mounting of mass killing in the key Sudan city of Alfashar after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured aid from government forces. In a address on Monday evening, Sudan's military chief, General Abdel Fattah, said he had approved the withdrawal of troops in response to the systemic destruction and killing of civilians. The UN said there were credible reports of summary executions, while Yale University Humanitarian Research Lab referred to satellite imagery of piles of bodies executed en masse. And a plane crash near Kenya's coast has killed 10 European tourists, and the local pilot officials have said. The aircraft was flying from the popular beach resort of Diani to a airstrip in the world-famous Masai Mara Game Park when it went down at 5:30 local time, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority said. Mombasa Air Safari said the plane was carrying 8 Hungarians, 2 Germans, and a Kenyan pilot, all of whom had been killed in the crash. Our primary focus right now is on providing all possible support to the families affected, it added in a statement. Well, on that note, that's how we come to the end of this edition of King's Newsroom. But before we leave, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. House of Representatives summons Ministers of Education, Finance, and Civil Service Agency Director General over lack of employment of dozens of public school teachers across the country. Demands explanation in the continuing prevalence of volunteer teaching. Chief Judicial Circuit Court of Monserrado County renders Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman guilty of criminal contempt, fines him US $300 to be paid in 72 hours. He also heard in the news Chinese investor Yang Ten accuses National Port Authority Managing Director Sekou Double of criminal behavior, says the NPA boss defrauded him of a US $2 million mineral water company. Away from home, fears a mountain of mass killings in a key Sudanese city of Al-Fashar after the paramilitary rapid support forces captured aid from government forces. A plane crash near Kenya's coast has killed 10 European tourists, and the local pilot officials have said. Many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who helped in making this edition of King's Newsroom a success. Sam Andrews brought you the news bulletin. Marvin Vaz had a control and handled the technical aspect of this edition. On behalf of the team, I'm Shemon Dear. I presented. Thanks for listening and watching.